I'm Josh Eaton, Senior Director of Scientific and Regulatory Affairs at PDA. I'm very glad to have the opportunity to talk with the presenters for the Global Sterile Manufacturing Regulatory Guidance Comparison Workshop, which will be held on September 11th and 12th following the PDA-FDA Joint Regulatory Conference. The workshop is based on the updated version of PDA's Global Sterile Manufacturing Regulatory Guidance Comparison book, which now covers sterile GMP guidance documents from 7 different regulatory authorities: the US FDA, the European Commission, the WHO, PICS, and regulatory guidance from Canada, China, and Japan. This event will not only provide an in-depth look at the updated book content, but also offers the opportunity on how to use the comparison tool which accompanies the regulatory expectations analysis provided by the authors. The tool is meant to aid users in mastering internal assessments of sterile manufacturing and in performing gap assessments of global aseptic processing requirements. So this discussion just touches on the importance of understanding the differences in sterile manufacturing expectations, and I invite you to join us at the workshop to learn how to use PDA's comparison tool and hear directly from the industry experts who literally wrote the book. So Amanda, the first question is going to have to go to you. So, why should we care about for the global regulations for aseptic processing? Can't you just do one thing one place and transfer it anywhere?
Well, according to the pharmaceutical executive, there was an article stating that sales from the leading 3 products from the top 10 companies account for nearly $150 billion of sales. So, this is a large global market, which indicates the need for compliance with global regulations. I wish that I could tell you that the regulations in the US will just apply to any country around the world. And unfortunately, that's not the case. The first major challenge you run into is going to be determining which documents apply to you and your product and where to find any applicable regulations and those supporting guidances. If you look at just the US alone, we have the Code of Federal Regulations, we have the FDA guidances for industry, and we have industry resources from multiple different organizations and groups, such as the PDA technical reports. The industry struggles to know what to do and what to follow just within the US alone. Once you start adding regulations and guidances from other health authorities, that's just going to compound that issue. Secondly, while all of the regulations align on the intent of aseptic manufacturing, they aren't always harmonized on the details of how to get there or what that means. The guidance in the industry is generally just to follow the most stringent applicable guidance, but what does that actually mean in practice? So this workshop is going to go more in depth into some of the similarities and differences identified in the source book, with working sessions to allow group practice in navigating the differences using case studies that are applicable to our daily jobs.
Steve, can you answer me the question of how regulators from a particular agency or geographic area, how would they treat each of these documents? Would they take them as their own, or would they look at them in a more global perception of all these?
Well, I think each agency has a set of preferred CGMP and guidance documents that are going to be used as their primary resource for sterile product manufacturing information. But sometimes their primary or their go-to documents can be lacking because of either they're outdated, they're vague, or they might even be silent on a particular issue. And I think that's when some of these other documents that we'll be discussing at the workshop become very valuable to get a different perspective on sterile product manufacturing and to see how other agencies have approached a particular problem or issue in manufacturing. And I think all regulatory authorities, of course, they share a common goal of ensuring the availability of safe and effective medicinal products. But sometimes looking at a document from another agency is going to provide some additional perspective or information on what the C in current good manufacturing practice is, and what may have been adopted as the most recent best practice, both by industry or by other regulatory authorities. So I think this workshop will really be of interest both to the industry and to regulators to get a sense of both the similarities in the documents and potential gaps where another agency's document could help with regulatory decisions for sterile medicinal product manufacturing. And I'll be going over more information in my presentation, so I hope everyone is able to come and hear that.
Christine, you've been with PDA for a while, and I've had the pleasure of working with you over many years. And so you've seen a lot of different conferences and workshops. So what is it about this workshop that is making you excited about it and why it's worthwhile to attend?
I'm really happy you asked that question, Josh. First, attendees are going to receive an early release of the updated book. Second, the attendees will have an opportunity to interact with the task force who performed the analysis. So they'll get real-time feedback from the folks who were integral in making this happen. Thirdly, the sessions are designed for attendees to bring home approaches for how to take steps proactively and to prepare. I'm really excited to participate in this workshop, and I'm hoping a lot of folks will attend.
Joe, you were the lead on this whole project for getting this revision done to the comparison guide. So I think that you definitely have some great insight here on answering, like, how will somebody's specific manufacturing site or company actually benefit from all this information that you and the team put together, and that what is going to be covering in the workshop.
So thanks, Josh, and you used the right term. This has been one of the best teams I've ever worked with. So how will a manufacturing site benefit from our workshop? Let me share why. Manufacturing sites that distribute sterile products globally are likely to host health authority inspections for up to 150 days a year. The tool we have constructed is a very convenient reference that your site staff can use to prepare for inspections. This is the what behind the book. The workshop will provide your staff with how to prepare for not only inspections, but for ongoing continuous improvement. For example, there's a session on how to use the analysis for personnel training. The tool describes what is common between authorities and what is unique. We've also considered that new hires or untrained employees face a very sharp learning curve. Depending on the pace of operations at your site, educating an untrained operator to work independently in a clean room can take 18 to 24 months. So using the content in the book to construct training modules provides your company with a tool that will teach your staff guidelines for best practices on aseptic processing. Another session will provide a case study on how to find gaps, and then another session will provide awareness into one component of a business plan. Realistically, commercial manufacturing companies must make a profit. This session will show attendees how to analyze a sterile process, in this case, sterile filtration, in a way to provide options and accurate costs for a change that is required for compliance. This cost information is one of the additional considerations management must use to prioritize the investment. And just as importantly, the costs come from the operators who actually do the work. For this session, the attendees will be a surrogate for your operators, but the attendees will also bring home a very useful tool for your site. So Josh, you and I have worked together now for a few years, and it's always been my pleasure. So from your perspective, what are the reasons attendees can trust the qualifications of the organizers and presenters in this workshop?
Sure, that's actually a great question, Joe. And as you said, we've worked together for a number of years, and everybody on this team has been fantastic at donating their time and energy to really go through all these different guidance documents from around the world to piece it all together, find the places where it matches, identify where it doesn't match, and kind of explain to the reader why this all matters and what to do about it. This team itself, between you and Brian, Amanda, Steve, Needy, this and plus all the other presenters that are going to be at this workshop, that's many years of experience. And if you take all of your contributions, in addition to the authors of the original version of this comparison guide, which I had the pleasure of also being involved in, there's about of 275 years of industry experience that is behind this analysis and comparison of all these 7 different regulatory guidance documents. So I think that between all those, you could be pretty confident that the right eyes have been on this, and the end result is really something that's going to be useful and thoughtful and valuable to the users of this.